Kirwan's Game Store, the best place in gaming.
Hey guys, welcome back to round 5 of the Kirwan's Pro Tour Qualifier.
And we found out a little bit of information for you guys during the break. It is 6 rounds, so 6 rounds, and then to win in top 8, you get to make make the Pro Tour, which is not bad at all.
So on the left, I believe we have Craig Rocco on Abs and Aggro, and on the right we have John Ross on the Green-Red Collected Company deck. So I'm really excited to see a Collected Company resolve right now.
Hopefully we get a chance to see it. Looking at Craig's deck list, it looks relatively normal. The only thing that is interesting about his deck list is that he has one wingmate rock. So that's definitely not something you see in like an aggro deck. He only has one. Other than that, he tops off at Siege right now.
The absent decks, the aggro decks used to play the full 4 wingmate rocks.
Yeah, I remember when that card was good.
They've recently gotten Sirach the Hunt Caller and multiple other spells, like better removal spells to play in their list.
Absolutely.
So it's been an upgrade from there. He also happens to have the Den Protector, Death Mist Raptor, Gruesome Twosome.
Yeah, Gruesome Twosome. We won't call it a combo, but
they're definitely two
together.
peas in a pod.
Yeah.
Like, people are trying really hard to find other things, but they're just the two that work the best
if
together.
you have a question about what that den mother is protecting, it's probably a dinosaur running at you. Which is a very cool artwork. I actually saw that artwork be sold. So someone has Death Mist Raptor on their wall as we speak. So it looks like we have them resolving mulligans right now. And it looks like John Ross did not like his opening 7, but Craig did.
So from what I can see, John has about 22 lands in his list, so he's a little land light.
That is very, very, very short. He probably plays the full...
He only has Elvish Mystic.
Only Elvish Mystics, wow.
So he definitely wants to be more aggressive than regular decks. So he's got the Elvish Mystics to be able to deploy the infamous turn 2 Rabble Master, which is very tough to beat. And he also has Fanatic of Xenagos and Flamewake Phoenix, which he can't actually cast on turn 2 because he's not playing any of the mana confluences. He's also got Boon Satyrs and Death Mist Raptors. So if he can jump the curve from 1 to 3, he's got a lot of good plays in this deck. And then the Collected Company that he definitely wants to be casting earlier rather than later.
Absolutely. And looking at Craig's deck, he has Thoughtseizes, Jormilka's Command, Absent Charm, Downfalls, Murder's Cut. So no ultimate price if he does have that turn 2. Rabble Master.
Yeah, there's really not much he can do to stop a turn 2 Rabble Master.
It's coming. It's coming for him.
I mean, that would be where I would want to come from. I'd want to be on the
Absolutely.
turn 2 Rabble Master side more so than not.
So it looks like the judge just wants Craig to shuffle the deck a little bit. And hopefully we will be playing very shortly. The records for these players, they are X and 1, so they are live for top 8. This is once again another elimination round. The person who loses this will not be able to make top 8. X and 2, because it's 6 rounds, but it was very close to being 7 rounds. The whoever makes X and 2, probably despite the breakers, won't be able to top 8, but X 1 and 1 should, so.
Yep.
We're just taking our fine time, making sure everything's good. And the deck is very shuffled. So we can look a little bit about how we think this is going to play out.
So the land lightness from John's deck is probably going to come in a little bit if any of the Sarkans come out. He's also got a playset of Crater Claws in this list, which is really, really interesting. Like, your fireballs are much, much better when you can utilize the mana to really get them on the floor. But in a land light deck like John's, they're not as effective. But if you've got a 4-power creature, then, you know what I mean, they're much, much better.
I mean, you could have fooled me. He's got 3 lands in a 6-card hand. But it looks like Craig playing a mana confluence, tapping it for black to play Thoughtseize. That is a lot of damage. That's 3 already.
True, but if you look over at John's side of the floor, there's really not much going on.
No.
So if Craig can really get going, then you know he's in a much better position to take this game over. He's going to take one of the collected companies, which I kind of like that. You know, Craig has Dromoka's commands in his deck, so that's just a sacrifice Boon Satyr. It goes away immediately, and you put a +1/+1 counter on your guy. You're having a much better time at that point.
Couldn't tell what John kept on top, but he did decide to keep on top.
I think it was a Fanatic of Xenagos, the red-green tribute card that
Oh, wow.
everyone seems to have to read.
Right, you have to just remind yourself of that one. So he has already got a Fleece Mane out. And he is in Pain Town with his lands.
Two more damage off of Pain Lands. See, I really like the draw of the Heir of the Wilds here, because it puts Craig in a really bad spot where you don't want to attack with your Fleece Mane Lion.
Absolutely not.
But, and to play any other spells, you have to take more damage. And then a lot of times you can really attack through with the 2/2 Death Touch.
And despite John being the one with 21 lands, Craig is the one that could not find his 3rd.
There's the Fanatic of Xenagos off the top. It's going to be tributed, so we're either going to see a 4/4 temporarily with haste, or a permanent 4/4.
Definitely. These cards are always really interesting. The cards that give your opponent the ability to make a decision, because they're usually not playable because the opponent just chooses
their best mode for
the
them.
best option.
But this is one of the cards that it doesn't really have a best mode for you.
Right, you're not too happy with it either way.
So in this situation, if it got haste, then it's attacking with a 3/3 Heir of the Wilds, which is really, really powerful.
Yes.
Or it's a 4/4 blocker that trumps the other 2 creatures on the other side.
Right.
So it's really bad for Craig, I think, either way.
Looks like we are waiting just... Drawing Heir of the Wilds was definitely very good for John, and then followed by Fanatic. That definitely has made his hand that looked really bad come together a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So without the Heir of the Wilds, Craig comes across for 3 damage very, very easily.
Yes.
And this is a much different game at that point.
Absolutely.
So Craig elects to trade the Fleece Mane Lion with the Heir of the Wilds, which it's trading up a little bit in John's favor because a 2/2 Death Touch is fine. It blocks really well against like Siege Rhinos and stuff. You'd never want to trade your Siege Rhinos with the Heir of the Wilds.
No, absolutely
but
not.
It just attacks really, really well. But trading is, I think, really good. But if John finds the 4th land for the collected company, this is going to become a very different game.
He has another Heir of the Wilds in his hand.
A Boon Satyr and a collected company still. So
And he was able to find the 4th land.
yes, and also Craig's kind of land light on this.
Yeah, he's missed quite a few land drops. It's really sad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards coming down. Was that a Seismic Rupture in the main board? Or Or is that a roast? I think that's a roast, actually. That's really interesting. Did he hit nothing off of that? I think he actually missed with the collected company.
All right, you guys, collected company resolved.
I'm really sad about this because I was hoping we got one Elvish Mystic.
Yeah, a mystic. I mean, it's not total miss.
I consider that a bit of a miss. That's a forest with 1 power and 1 toughness. And Craig hit a third land.
Forests.
I love forests. I love it when they come with 5/5s attached. Though.
Definitely. So he did hit his third land drop, which is really good.
Yeah, he definitely needed that. Being stuck on 2 lands, especially as painful as those 2 lands are, is not where you need to be.
He still is going to be taken. Looks like he is going to...
Abzan Charm, removing the Fanatic of Xenagos, which is pretty good, but that's 2 more damage.
Yes.
He's at 10 life with only 1 attack having come across.
I mean, this is definitely something that we've been talking about, and this is something that a lot of people talk about, is Abzan aggro is a very good deck, but it has very painful lands.
I really like the Mystic attack here, because even though he has 2 Air of the Wilds coming, which is really, really good.
Yeah.
You know, Craig's going down to 9 life right now, which is not a high life total, and a Mystic can really put that away. You know, especially with a Boon Satyr in hand, if you find the 5th land, bestow a Boon Satyr, that's attack for 5, you're dead in 2 more turns.
Personally, I saw the open where someone had a Den Protector and they put a Boon Satyr on it. And then Den Protector's ability becomes very relevant because you can't block it.
It's very good. In my casual Magic days before I knew how to really turn cards sideways, I play with Aura Gnarlic, which, you know, creatures with power less than him can't block, and every time an aura gets attached to him, he gets +2/+2. So he just gets out of control very fast. Craig going to the tank right now, trying to think about, here's a 5, bestow a Boon Satyr.
He is bestowing the Boon Satyr on an Air of the Wilds.
So I think that bestow is really, really good for the fact that it's going to trigger the Air of the Wilds. It's going to give them each +1/+1 when they go to attack. And they're going to become big enough that there's no really profitable trades for Craig.
Right.
There's the Dromoka's command. It's sacrifice an enchantment more than likely, fight a creature, get rid of the elf, sacrifice the Boon Satyr. You know, it's good for him.
That card is very powerful.
Damaging for sure.
Yes.
So he's down to 8 now, and you know this attack with the
majority of the life that he has taken has been from his lands.
Yeah, he's taken 1 actual hit from attacks, but the attack from the Air of the Wilds here seems really good to me now too, because he's going to lose the Death Dealer, can't regenerate it, and he's going to lose the Den Protector. Problem is Craig has 2 cards in hand, and he's got a draw step coming, and he hasn't hit many lands, so we know there's cards in his hand. John seems to only have 1 card, so he's a little bit behind with the mulligan into a Thoughtseize.
And he says pass the turn. Looks like he found another land. This... He now has mana available for...
So the attacks here are fine, because you have more cards in hand. I don't know... I'm not sure about the no Death Dealer attack. I guess you want to have it on defense. Ooh, a Morph. So I'm thinking this is probably a Den Protector. Maybe a Death Mist Raptor, but not very likely. Yeah, the only Morph cards he has are the Raptor.
Those 2, yeah.
I do like the no attack from the Death Dealer. It blocks really well versus the Air of the Wilds because of the regeneration. And you have a Morph on the floor. So
now he has a Morph.
this is getting interesting. It looks like that I think is a Death Mist Raptor. The only card that he seems to have that is morphable is the Death Mist Raptor.
Okay.
Which a 4/4 Death Touch Death Mist Raptor, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Especially because it makes your Air of the Wilds bigger. So now you can't regenerate Death Dealer and trade and kill the Air of the Wilds.
Sure.
now the Air of the Wild stays around. Update life totals a little bit. They are slowly waning down.
It looks like he is flipping up a Den Protector, and he chose to get Abzan Charm back.
Abzan Charm. That is
Which is
a...
good.
It is a very, very good card, but I don't know how good it is on this board state. I guess because we know that that's a Death Mist Raptor, but Craig doesn't know this.
No, he does not.
So, upon flipping, the Death Mist Raptor becomes big enough to be Abzan Charmed, and
Correct.
upon attack, the Air of the Wilds get big enough. But currently, they're not.
So it looks like he's just attacking with the Megamorph, Den Protector. So he loses 3 here. He declines blocking.
Well, he actually can't block the Den Protector because of the ability.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
See, I was just
creatures
talking
with
about
power
that
less
with Boon
can't
Satyr, and I
block.
completely. Yep, you're right. He doesn't have the mana to flip it, so he has no ability.
I think Death Mist flips up on 5, so he has
He
enough
has it
mana
now,
to be
but
able
he
to
was
flip
tapped.
it. Yeah.
He was tap blaster. Yeah.
He can definitely flip up the Death Mist Raptor here, but he
Here.
knows that the Abzan Charm's in Craig's hand.
Yes.
So he's in a really tough spot right now. And this the Den Protector is actually going to come across for a lot of damage because
It
there's
is.
not much he can do about it.
Yeah.
And if he flips up the Raptor's probably going to get hit because it's the only thing that can block the Den Protector. So he's in a really tough spot, I think, now.
Yeah, it looks like he's asking just to read Abzan Charm. So just to make sure, he's probably coming to the realization of what we've already said, that if he flips it up, it will. And he decides to play a Goblin Rabble Master.
Rabble Master is really, really good. Granted, the Death Dealer is just going to keep eating these tokens,
Yes.
but the Den Protector can't do too much about it.
No.
But
Let's see.
this
There's
is
cards in his hand.
one
One of which is the Abzan Charm.
This is definitely a spot where if Craig missteps, John can just untap and kill him. More than likely, there's a lot of damage
Yes.
with a Rabble Master, a token,
Yes.
a morph down Death Mist Raptor just hiding and waiting.
Yeah, he has to tread very lightly here.
So we're gonna fetch, try to thin the deck a little bit more. Taking another point of damage. There it is. He's at 6 life right now. And coincidentally, if 1 damage gets through, or 2 damage, Craig's dead to Fireball.
That's true. That is true.
If the
It's almost
correct
like
attacks
he
can
made
be
it out
made,
this way.
Fireball will kill him.
And this is game 1, so they don't have really knowledge.
Yeah.
We can guess of the other person's decks, which I wouldn't necessarily be thinking that was going to be coming out of the deck. So
Yep.
that might not be something that I'm trying to play around.
Well, the Fireballs are fairly notorious in the red-green decks because, there's no more Mizzy Mortars anymore. There's no more good, clean removal
Right.
spells. So they've had to resort to whatever they can get their hands on. Lightning Strikes or Wild Slashes. The Roasts from time to time are okay.
Right.
But the Crater Claws have been the go-to card for them for the most part. Just because, it doesn't care how big you are. If you can wait long enough to get the lands, you can kill anything.
Absolutely.
And it hits Planeswalkers too, which is really, really nice.
Siege Rennet would be nice for Craig. I haven't seen him
Yeah, that's...
find one of those.
We've
Those are in his deck somewhere.
played a few turns of Magic now. We have not seen a Siege Rhino. This game's getting very, very close.
So once again, he's unable to block that. He could flip up the Raptor to block, but he knows that Abzan Charm will
Yeah. The Abzan Charm in Craig's hand is going to be a little bit detrimental to the plan. Granted, it puts him to 5, and at that point you need 1 damage to kill him with Fireball.
That's true.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers, so in this board state, if he flips up the Death Mist Raptor, he has to respond with the Abzan Charm, and then he's able to backswing with one creature getting through, and then he can fireball.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
2 damage actually needs to come through because he's still at 6. Well, if he Abzan Traps, he takes a point of damage, goes to 5. This is much closer than I thought it was going to be. I really thought, like, it's teeter-tottered back and forth a little bit because John's opening hand was a little rough on the Thoughtseize.
Definitely.
But he's found some really good Magic cards.
And it looks like he has elected to flip it face up.
I really think this is a bait for the Abzan Charm.
I think so. He knows it's there.
Yeah. It's Abzan Charm X, and there's no 1-mana spells in Craig's desk other than maybe one of Murderous Cut. So he can deploy a single Murderous Cut here. But that's 2 points of damage, and then if Craig can block, or if John can block well enough and then draw Fireball, he can win this game.
He knows the Raptor is going to meet the Abzan Charm most likely. But Craig knows that he knows about the Abzan Charm, but sometimes you're forced into the position of having to use the Abzan Charm anyways, assuming that your opponent wants you to use the Abzan Charm on it, but he can't let the Den Protector be blocked, so he's kind of forced into using it here.
He's going to use the Mana Confluence to Abzan Charm. He's going to go to 5 here.
Yeah. Either way, he was gonna have to take one. So
here's the forced Goblin attack. That's he looks like he's going for it.
He's going.
I really don't think I like this attack that much. But we'll see if John can figure out his math and get out of it. I think the biggest advantage to this currently is you can't regenerate either of the
Death
Death Dealer.
Exactly.
Problem being is he's going to have a Death Dealer survive this attack because a Death Dealer is probably going to go after a Goblin token.
Correct.
The Den Protector is going to block air, Rakshasa is going to block air, and then he keeps 2 of his creatures, and he's allowed to pump the Death Dealer enough times to be able to kill him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's got 2, 3, 4.
So no damage comes across. Yeah, it doesn't seem like...
Yeah, I really think that was a poor attack. I think I would have left most of my creatures back and seen what Craig would have done, because if you draw Fireball and get 1 damage through, you win the game at this point. And, we've gone through a couple of cards, seen a Collected Company, haven't drawn a Fireball yet. So,
yeah.
He's got 4 of in his list, so I would have left it to the draw card gods.
It's kind of one of those situations where you want to give yourself the best opportunity to win. You don't want to take the line that kills you slower. You want to set yourself up to be able to win.
I wonder what John had in his hand. Probably another land.
Yes, it was a forest. It looks like he drew a forest off the top, and that was enough for him to concede since he was going to be dead.
Yep. All right, we are gonna head to the sideboard.
So in Craig's sideboard, he has 2 Glare of Heresy, 2 more Wingmate Rocks, 2 Duresses, 3 Farika's Cures, 2 Bile Blights, 1 Ultimate Price, 1 Nissa, 1 Jamoka's Command, and 1 Soren.
I really like the Soren.
Soren's good.
John's deck's low to the ground. It's got a lot of 2 toughness creatures, so the vampires that Soren makes can trade with a lot of things.
Absolutely.
And the lifelink is huge in a game where Craig can curve.
Absolutely. Farika's Cure, that is the card we have not seen in a while.
That is true. I think Craig came in here believing that Mono Red was going to be a real deck, and it definitely is so far.
And he was not going to lose to it. Yeah, Farika's Cure used to be in every mono black devotion deck. So
even in the mono black aggro deck, I played that deck for a while because boy oh boy is Spiteful Returned the best creature I've ever played with.
Oh my god. I would say the best creature I've ever played with is Consecrated Sphinx.
Come on, you can't scoff at a 2-mana 1/1 that attacks and you lose 2 life. that you can bestow onto something.
Mole Drifter? Can we take that? Mole Drifter? So yeah, definitely.
The ultimate prices are going to be really, really good. The Bile Blights are going to be good. The Pharika's Cures are going to be good. Like I said, there's a lot of 2 toughness guys in here that die to a lot of the removal spells on the sideboard. Yeah,
absolutely.
The only thing that ultimate price doesn't actually kill is the Fanatic of Xenagos, coincidentally. So, on John's side, we have some Wild Slashes, another Death Mist Raptor, another Flamewake Phoenix, a couple Mistcutter Hydras, 4 Nihilius Disciples, a Seismic Rupture, 2 Arbor Colossus, and some Crater Elementals. I think I really like the extra Death Mist Raptor because the Death Touch creature against bigger guys is good. I like the Nihilius Disciples in some numbers because this is aggressive and allows you to just race back while playing guys and gaining life.
Yeah.
Arbor Colossus seems pretty good. There are Wingmate Rocks over on Craig's side, so we want to be able to block a flyer.
However, John does not know that. He didn't see any Wingmate Rocks.
Alright, so there's a decklist problem we're going to try to fix, and that's why the players are currently stopped. So we're going to grab their list, and then we're going to get back to them.
Alright. That was Will Anderson. He is judging here. He is awesome and knows everything, so he will have this resolved very shortly, I'm sure, and we will be able to get the game started for you guys.
Back to one of the sideboard cards. The Spice that I've seen today can't be topped by the sideboard Crater Elemental that John Ross has. It is a 3-mana 0/6 that has pay 1 mana, tap and sacrifice Crater Elemental, deal 4 damage to the target creature. Or, if you have 8 power of creatures on the floor, you can pay 3 mana and it becomes a base power 8 creature. So it becomes an 8/6. This card seems so awesome. It also blocks very, very well against a lot of Craig's stuff. So I think it's going to be a pretty good card in this list. I would board it in. I can't find a matchup where I wouldn't board it in, because personally, I think people would just scoop seeing the card. Because everyone's like, what is this? What does it even do?
What does this do?
Not only are we picking up Fanatic of Xenagos to figure out what they do, but now we have to pick up Crater Elementals to figure out what they do.
Absolutely.
Head judge Pro Tour Honolulu for October. She used to head judge. She made the downgrade.
I mean,
Do you want to?
sure.
Yes or no?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
I want to look at one thing first, which is it's not considered a downgrade for that, I don't believe, right?
No, there's no count.
We are just dealing with a little bit of a judge call, as we spoke early. We have some judges over here, and they said that they would be kind enough to come on mic and explain to you as well. So we will just wait very patiently. It looks like Philly wants John to come. And we would be in very good company, so I'm sure John will take care of us and he will explain exactly what's going on. Probably not.
So we are shuffling up, getting ready for game 2.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to check on that. Okay.
Hey guys, we are joined by Head Judge John Shannon.
Oh, hey. Okay, so what we had is we had a player that after game 1 was going to sideboard and they realized that they had some sideboard cards. So this is one of the situations where if you call a judge and you didn't gain any advantage, then potentially things can be downgraded. Typically where we see this is before game 1, you draw your opening hand and draw a sideboard card. That would normally be a game loss. In that case, it would have been a forced mulligan. Here we were in between games. So I chose to downgrade. So that's partly to encourage players to call a judge when you have a problem. Certainly if we had found that the player hit it, then it would be result most likely in a DQ. When you see an infraction and you decide to let it go to your advantage, or what you think is your advantage, then you'll often get DQ'd for that. So the player got the game loss downgraded to a warning, and they're continuing to play.
Awesome.
Appreciate the explanation, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, we are finishing up shuffling. Thanks for that explanation. That was John Shannon, head judge of Pro Tour Honolulu in 2006.
You might remember him, or you might remember the Lightning Helix incident, the Lightning Helix guy. That was the Pro Tour that he head judged. He's a really great head judge, very level-headed, and I'm really glad that they were able to come to a conclusion to this without anyone having to escalate the problem.
I agree. All right, we are starting off. It looks like John's on the play. He's going to lead off with a forest, into a mountain, into an Heir of the Wilds. I really like the turn 2 Heir of the Wilds because it really invalidates a lot of Craig's plays.
It does.
Like, you don't want to trade your Fleecemane Lion. You don't want to lose your Death Dealer to it. It's not a card that you really want to just try to trade with. It's a great card to start on, but unluckily this isn't the turn 2 Rabble Master that I really wanted to see.
It'll have to do, right?
So I see a Fanatic of Xenagos, a Goblin Rabble Master, and a Flamewake Phoenix in his hand. He's going to go with a Fanatic. I like the Fanatic here because he left the Fleecemane Lion back. And whatever mode the Fanatic gets chosen into, Heir of the Wilds becomes a 3/3, and then you're almost tempted to trade your Fleecemane Lion with it. Looks like he's going to give it +1/+1 in haste until end of turn. He's going to trade with the Heir of the Wilds and take 4.
He must have a plan for the Fanatic, is what I am assuming.
It's probably something along the lines of an Abzan Charm. I really like the Abzan Charm against only the Fanatic because you can't always hit the Heir of the Wilds with it. But an Anafenza following up is really, really good as well. And he's got a much better mana base this time, so he's taking a lot less damage from his lands.
Exactly. That's very good. That's an important thing about the Abzan is when it comes together and you don't have to take a lot of damage off of Pain lands and mana confluences. It's pretty good.
And there is a Flamewake Phoenix, a great follow-up to Gumming Up the Ground.
It is nice that he has the option of going to the sky. He's playing a tap line and says go.
Okay, so probably something along the lines of removal spell. I think I see another Anafenza in his hand, so that seems like a slightly stranded card right now because of the legendary rule. But at this point, John has a pretty good lead, and a flyer is going to keep coming at him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to take 2 more, go to 11.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has an answer currently, which means he's going to be taking this for a little while.
Gotcha. So he's going to go Abzan Charm of the Fanatic, which is solid. It seems like the only removal spell he can deploy right now because the Goblin Rabble Master on the other side of the floor is pretty scary.
Luckily he does have Anafenza.
Alright, there's Fleecemane Lion. That's going to be another really, really good blocker. It's going to gum up everything for the Goblin Rabble Master. So there's just no good, clean attacks for that. But Craig doesn't seem to really have a good way to deal with this Flamewake Phoenix.
Not yet. And
there we go. We got a Bile Blight.
So that definitely was a card that we were saying could come in.
Really, really good interaction here. The Anafenza, because the Flamewake Phoenix dies, gets exiled, so he's not able to bring it back.
Exactly.
It looks like a roast on the top of the library. I like the roast, but John doesn't seem to agree with me. Seems to have 2 lands and a Goblin Rabble Master. So I guess I don't know. I like the roast. I don't know why you don't keep it. You need to get a way to get your Rabble Master through, and roast seems like the way to do it.
Yeah.
I guess maybe John's trying to go bigger, find a Fireball, trying to find a Sarkhan, the Dragon Speaker. Maybe some of his sideboard cards as well.
Unfortunately, the Fleecemane is monstrosine with a very little dice. So that's going to be a very hard threat to deal with.
This is Very, very true. I'm curious.
That was the last cut.
He didn't attack with it. Is this a pretty good position to start attacking back?
I would assume so. I guess maybe he is afraid of the damage he is at 10 that the Rabble Master can do. Coupled with something like a burn spell.
So if he attacks with the Fleeceman line, it gets a +1/+1 counter, becomes a 5/5, and that puts John at 11. And I don't believe the Rabble Master can race back that well.
No, I don't think so either. I'm just trying to imagine where Craig is at in his head. This is one of those positions in which Goblin Rabble Master looks really bad on this side of the table. I'm still kind of sad that we've only seen one collected company be cast, and only in the Elvish Mystic.
Yeah, it would be a great card for John right now to get a couple of guys on the
Yeah,
floor for
absolutely.
sure. Craig plays the second Anafenza out of his hand, sacrificing the first one, so he's got 2 blockers back. But he doesn't seem to be in that much danger zone. John has
definitely
8 lands on the floor in a 22 land deck. He's kind of flooding out right now, and Craig should be able to see that.
Yeah.
So he looks like he's going to commit to it now. He's going to go for the 9 damage. John's going to elect to block, take 5.
And
Ooh, Boon Satyr.
a Boon Satyr.
Okay, so that's a card that can trade.
Yeah,
We,
it's not the worst. I mean,
yeah, we get some-
he is left with pretty nice Fleeceman Lion, so
That Fleeceman line's definitely not going anywhere against John's
No.
deck. And Craig draws another Anafenza, that's going to be really, really bad for John, because that 5/5 Fleeceman line is going to keep coming.
absolutely.
I feel like you have to block the Anafenza. Actually, if John sided in the Crater Elemental and he collected companies and finds it, they could block the
This
Fleeceman
could
line.
be it.
They could block the Fleeceman line.
For a while. Keeps on getting counters with Anafenza.
But I go for the trade on Anafenza here.
Alright, and then your Crater
Well, actually,
Elemental is insane.
you can't. You can't here.
No.
You just die to the
You
Fleeceman
die.
line,
You'd
so you have to block
you'd have
the
to
Fleeceman line.
You'd have to have collected company cast
And
it,
you're at a
then
bad
hit
spot
the-
at that point. So Craig is going to win game 2. Craig is going to win the match.
Yeah, I'm here for the cookies.
And I feel a little bad for my man John. Collected company, Crater Elemental.
It
The list
just-
looks cool. I would play it. It's got forests.
It's got forests. I mean, Craig's deck also has forests, but you like the spice. You gotta have that little extra something.
It's kind of funny actually, because I've played Abzan in Modern. Outside of
doesn't do
Siege
it for you?
Rhino, it's just lackluster. My white cards were okay, but my red cards were real good.
You like the red. Alright.
I got my Hum Master of the Fells. I got Olivia Voldaren.
Sure.
Switch